Well, you do know what happens if you try to build your entire political career on race baiting, cultural ignorance, and Twitter clapbacks. Eventually, the voters clap back. And y'all, that is exactly what happened to Jasmine Crockett. Let me calm down. I want to celebrate, but you know, she lost her race. So we got to talk about it. You guys, for years, Jasmine Crockett kind of strutted around Washington, D.C. like she was the queen of the hill, right? Throwing out accusations of racism, just sprinkling it out like it was confetti. She acted like every criticism was somehow Jim Crow in a pantsuit. But we now see that her political career has hit a wall. And instead of taking accountability, what she's doing now is what Democrats always do: blame racism. It's the Republicans. We didn't do nothing. It's all their fault. Everything's racist. Blame the system. Literally blame everybody except the one person responsible. And that would be Jasmine Crockett herself. So today, we're going to do a political autopsy, right? We're just going to kind of look back and determine, how did lashes get here? Because Jasmine Crockett's fall tells us something very important about Black voters, Democrat strategy, and the limits that the race baiting politics, it's come to an end. So let's get into this. Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm your host, April Chapman, and welcome to the show. And so today we got to talk about it, y'all. We're going to talk about why did Jasmine Crockett lose her Senate race. We're also going to talk about why should this moment be viewed as a wake-up call for the entire Democratic Party? So first, let's take a look at this.
Look at Democratic primary for the U.S. Senate right now. U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico, a state representative. We're waiting for James Tallarico. We're thinking he's going to speak. He is up. He's got 850,000 votes. And Jasmine Crockett from Dallas County has 764,000. So that distance, that 5% distance, has held pretty firm for a long time.
Fox 4's Amelia Jones in downtown Dallas at Congressman Jasmine Crockett's watch party. Amelia.
Hi, Stephen Clarice. Jasmine Crockett's watch party here at Club Vivo in downtown Dallas is starting to wrap up. They even cut the lights a few minutes ago. Fellow members of the media are packing up their things. People are heading towards the door. I imagine this is not the watch party on election night that Crockett had in mind. She addressed her supporters around 9:15, and you could hear the frustration and disappointment in her voice. She talked a lot about the confusion with Dallas County and the Supreme Court now temporarily blocking the Dallas County judge's order, and Dallas County now having to separate ballots. Dallas County is her backyard, and we know these results could make a big difference in a tight race like this.
I can tell you now that people have been disenfranchised. The polls were supposed to stay open until 9, according to a court order. The Supreme Court, just a few minutes ago, just said, shut it down. The Supreme Court also said that they are to separate any votes out that came in after 7 p.m.
Earlier today, Crockett stopped by several polling locations on her way from Houston up here to Dallas, including one in Oaklawn. Throughout her campaign, Crockett has built on the message that she is a fighter. She even called herself a street fighter. She has told voters that Texas needs an independent voice who's willing to go toe-to-toe with Republicans and energize the Democratic base. Heading into election night, Crockett had some major backing with big endorsements from music artist Cardi B and a late endorsement from Kamala Harris. When Crockett addressed her supporters, she told them, please enjoy the night, stay, but she will likely not be coming back to address them, as she believes the results in this race will not be final until tomorrow, as those Dallas County numbers likely won't be counted.
So the first thing I need to do is we need to start with Jasmine's first mistake. Okay, Jasmine Crockett she believed the same lie that many Democrats believe about Black voters. And it's that they believe that if you just roll out a rapper or a celebrity or just somebody from pop culture, that suddenly Black people will just line up like obedient voters and do what we're told.
Listen up, y'all. Early primary voting is happening right now in Texas, and we need Jasmine Crockett to win. She is running for U.S. Senate, and if you want somebody that's going to fight for your right, if you want somebody to fight for your community, if you want somebody that's going to go up there and represent you and represent your issues, please vote for my sister Jasmine Crockett. Because one thing about it, she's going to fight her best. She's going to fight whoever she has to, so your voice and your problems could be heard. Vote right now. This counts so much. Vote right now.
Y'all, I'm telling you, the moment I saw that clip of Cardi B endorsing Jasmine Crockett, I was like, yeah, it's over. She done. I knew it was over. Done. Finished. Stick a fork in it. You can't win this thing. Let it go. Listen, I'm telling you, Democrats are truly the party of low expectations. Okay, Kamala did this because, y'all, this is what they think we like. They think y'all like this stuff. And Jasmine did this because this is who they want Black people to be. Democrat strategy toward Black voters has basically become send the rappers, send the hoes, make sure they twerk, send the chaos, scream racism, racism, I hate Trump, orange man bad, and the collective spamming of all of that together. You're supposed to look at all of that and say, you know what? Since Cardi B endorsed her, I sure is confident that she can do the job now. It's insulting. Why do y'all keep doing this? Surely with the advent of social media, you have heard so many of us Black folks say, we don't want this and we don't take you seriously. This is just insulting. Okay, it assumes that Black voters are just low information, easily manipulated, and just politically unserious. It's so insulting at this point. It assumes that Black voters are low information, easily manipulated, and just politically unserious. Now, sadly, y'all ain't gonna like this, okay? But the truth of the matter is that is partly true, okay? But there's a caveat. They always miss the caveat. The caveat is that even the low information voters, they got sense enough to know that they don't want hoodlicious Black ignorance representing them in DC. They don't want that. I don't care who you are. Listen, I'm from the hood. Okay, one thing I can say, when you are from the hood and you make it, they want to send you somewhere to represent your best. They don't want to send somebody from the hood that's still going to be the hood. No, you're supposed to have sense enough to know that they want you to do well, but they don't want you to be like them. They know they're deficient. They know, but you can't assume that all of the people you represent are team hood rat ghetto baby mama pop culture foolishness. You can't assume that. Listen, Democrats have been pandering like this for so long that they actually believe that it works. Y'all, this is why we're at the bottom. It's them, our very own politicians. They parrot the very dysfunction that prevents us from rising up and doing better. So why would we want to vote for somebody where we know this is where the dysfunction lies? But here's the reality. Okay, Black Americans, they want leaders who represent them with dignity. We want some poise, some competence. We're looking for substance. We don't want political campaigns built around Instagram energy and rap endorsements. We've been here before and we know it doesn't work because we're asking, how is this going to help anyone? And we already know it's not going to help anyone, but you still shove it down our throats anyway. So now let's be honest. about something, okay? Jasmine Crockett, she's not unintelligent. And that's what's so disappointing about her rise and her fall from grace. This woman has the ability, because we've seen her do it, to present herself with professionalism when she wants to. But instead, she chooses to build a brand around ghettofied chaos. All of the arguing and the outbursts on the congressional floor, the inflammatory rhetoric, the constant accusations of racism. It's just a bunch of performative outrage. Take a look at this.
Let me ask you about a quote that you've made that has some Democrats worried about your ability to win statewide. In a December 2024 Vanity Fair profile, you talked about, quote, and I'm going to read a lot of the quote just to put it in the context, quote, all the complexities within the Latino community. The immigration thing has always been something that has perplexed me about this community. It's basically like, I fought to get here, but I left y'all where I left y'all, and I want no more y'all to come here. If I wanted to be with y'all, I would stay with y'all, but I don't want y'all coming to my new home. It almost reminds me of what people would talk about when they would talk about kind of like slave mentality and the hate that some slaves would have for themselves. It's almost like a slave mentality that they have. Now, about the time that that was published last year, around 1 million Latino voters in Texas were voting for Trump. Do they all have slave mentality?
No, and that's not what that said at all, to be clear. It did not say that every Latino has that type of mentality.
No, but the ones that vote for people who believe in strong or Trump's immigration policies.
So I don't believe that the people that voted for Trump believe in what they're actually getting.
There it is. She did it again. We played back what she said, and then she has the nerve to say, well, I don't believe that the people who voted for Trump understand what they're getting. No, ma'am. What we voted for is what we wanted. We wanted someone tough on crime who's going to close the border and stop giving our resources to illegals. You see, it's the mind-numbing rhetoric. She is so stuck in this enclave of progressive leftist policies that she doesn't have sense enough to know that the people in her state do not want overwhelmingly what she is selling. But it's the self-centered pride, the lack of humility, the inability to see voters and say, if I'm representing them, I need to ask them, what is it that they want? So between calling Latinos or saying that they have a slave mindset and then saying that Trump voters don't actually believe that they actually don't know what they're getting, as if, listen, that now that I think about it, that's really insulting. You know why? Because Donald Trump, he's not the most winsome communicator, but he drills it down and makes it very simple. He doesn't overcomplicate it. And even a kindergartner can understand what his policy objectives were. And she didn't have sense enough to know that, no. We heard what he wanted to do, and that's why we voted for him. Instead, she insults you some more and said, well, you don't really understand what you want. You see what I'm saying? It's the slave master slave. She's right. She does believe they have a slave mentality. It is her job as the Democrat master, the overlord, to tell you what it is that you want and what's best for you. And it is your job as the slave-minded Negro and Latino to just comply because Master knows what's best. And if Master says that illegal immigration is okay and it's not a crime, then it's not a crime. Now, we are used to the performative outrage, but in this moment, this is an example of one of the things, the inflammatory statements that Jasmine Crockett makes, that when confronted on her foolishness, she will just outright lie and say that that's not what she said. When we sat there and heard her say that the Latinos, that's the they she was referring to, it's like they have a slave mentality. Did you really think that you would win a primary or a statewide race in a state like Texas with such a huge minority population by implying that they have a slave mentality simply because they ideologically disagree with you and they find commonality with Donald Trump, Read the room. If you really wanted to stay in power, you wouldn't have been team open borders. But you have to, when you're a Democrat, you are unable to think for yourself and stand alone. And so you have to side with the group. So if the Democrats want open borders, then you want open borders. That's it. That's the only reason why she would make a statement like that to shame that many minority voters, is because she really does believe that. And she's not interested in doing what is best for the people of her state, which is like, listen, I know Democrats are team illegal immigration, but here it has caused unnecessary, undue harm to the people who live here. And I can't side with y'all on that issue, or else I'm going to have trouble being reelected. And so we saw from her outright lies, inflammatory rhetoric, and just a bunch of political theater. Like, she's so unserious. And the problem is, when you build your entire brand around wretchedness, eventually the voters start asking, is this leadership or is this noise? Right? Because contrary to what Democrats believe, Black voters do not want representatives who embarrass us. We're tired of being embarrassed. We don't want people in Congress who remind us of the local baby mama who gets on everybody's nerves.
Sabrina Byron. Ask for Byron.
Hey. Be quiet. Listen.
What is that? That's the baby mama from hell. And it ain't gonna be no Maggie. Oh no. Hey, shut the hell up. Sound like a siren. Come in here and say, shut up.
Right? We're looking for some leadership that will make us proud. We want intelligence. We want class. We want serious policy thinking. Not someone who behaves like they're auditioning for the Real Housewives of Dallas County. Now, that don't even exist, and I pray they do not come out with a Dallas County franchise of the Real Housewives. I'm hoping they don't, but from the looks of it, I could easily see her, even though she is not a wife and there are no prospects on the horizon for her to be anybody's wife. I can see her auditioning, and because of her behavior, I can see it working, and she make the cut. Now, here's where things get predictable. Okay, so instead of asking Jasmine, doing a postmortem and asking, did I run a bad campaign? Right? Like, did I turn people off with my rhetoric? Did my policies just fail to resonate with the voters? You think she gonna ask any of those questions? She a Democrat, and she a Black, and she a female. No. Accountability's like kryptonite. Jasmine Crockett's first instinct, we've already seen it, because she didn't waste much time. She cried racism, right? She cried racism and blamed Republicans. Everything is racism. Losing election is racism. People criticize you, it's racism. The voters reject your message, it's racism. But here's the problem with that strategy. Americans, by and large, are exhausted by it, because when everything is racism, eventually nothing's racism. And voters are we are rejecting politicians who constantly use identity politics as some shield against accountability. It don't even work anymore. We're over it. So now what I want to do, I want to talk about, there was a problem with the extended voting hours. I thought this was strange, and how she tried to even make this about Republicans. There was a controversy surrounding the entire election itself. You have Democrats who tried to make this and turn this into another racial grievance. Out there in Dallas County, the Democrats, mind you, asked a judge to extend voting hours to 9 p.m. Just Democrats. But here's the part that they conveniently left out. The request came from the Democratic Party itself. Republicans didn't request it. They didn't control it. They didn't even create the confusion in the first place. But somehow, Jasmine took to the camera and still managed to spin the whole situation into a Republican racism narrative.
We cannot allow this type of behavior to be rewarded, because so long as they know that they can win, even if it means cheating, then they will continue to do it.
This is what Republicans like to do. And so they specifically targeted Dallas County, and I think we all know why.
And she wonders why she's unserious and nobody is rocking with her. Now, this is what Democrats do. When their strategy falls, they'll create a grievance, and when the voters reject them, they'll just invent oppression. But the good news is the voters are increasingly seeing through this foolishness. And we're at the point now where I can confidently say that Jasmine Crockett didn't lose because of racism. She lost because of her worldview is just so out of touch with everyday Americans. She could not connect with the people who mattered, and that was the voters. All her politics does is prioritize illegal immigration, which is a problem when you are running in a border state. It's too much emphasis on all the gay stuff and a no-holds-barred position on the trans stuff. Parents are tired of that. They like, listen, I'm tolerant, but I ain't this tolerant. Mind you, tolerance is a sin, and the reason why we got here is because we've been too tolerant. She's also against school choice. You're going to lose families and single moms who want to get their kids out of the hood and into a good school. You're going to lose them on school choice. And then on top of the fact, she's pro-government dependency. All she has to do is offer identity politics and some free stuff. And that's all she has. But these policies, they're the policies that are keeping Black communities trapped in what I call welfare squalor. Remember, I'm always saying, Democrats are masters looking for slaves, and Democrat voters are slaves looking for masters. Their system only works when the voters accept the lie that the government dependency equals progress. But more and more Black voters, you guys, they're absolutely rejecting that narrative because they have seen what several generations of bastards raising bastards has done to their families, and they are finally waking up and saying, we do not want what you guys are selling. So if you would please go back to the drawing board and get some better policies, then maybe we'll consider voting for you. But here's another honest fact that we just need to talk about. Y'all keep forgetting politicians like Jasmine Crockett, they don't rise to power because they represent excellence. No, they represent the chaos, and you have elite donors like the Soros Network. They will fund candidates who promote everything but what is good and right. So if you're trying to promote strong families, discipline, moral clarity, the Soros, Alex and his daddy, no. They are funding candidates who create division. Remember, it's a Marxist paradigm. They are Marxist in their worldview. It's anti-God, anti-Christian. And they do it because chaos is politically useful to them. Chaos is what keeps their voters emotional. And chaos is what keeps people fighting each other instead of questioning the whole system and realizing it's been y'all all along. So this is a cultural wake-up call. What Jasmine Crockett's defeat really shows us, it shows us something deeper. And one of those things is that Black voters are increasingly rejecting the whole hood rat politician stereotype. Like, we're done with the Tiffany Henyards and we're rejecting the types like Jasmine Crockett. We've had enough of y'all. You Black women, y'all and wore us out. Okay, we have Black female orangutan fatigue. Trust me, we are good. We don't want leaders who mirror the worst parts of our culture. We want leaders who represent the best of our potential. Because Black Americans we deserve better than political figures who reduce our identity to rappers, thugs, twerking, and weaves, wigs, and lashes. We don't want that. We want leaders who represent excellence. So Jasmine Crockett may be out of politics for now, but like most Democrats, they'll never go away. She will be right back pretty soon, putting her hand in the ring, not even realizing that this defeat is a signal. Like most Democrats do, like I said, she ain't gonna take the hint. She's just gonna keep showing up, failing time and time again, using politics as a grift, and then getting on all of our nerves in the process. Right? But the lesson here, it is so much more bigger than just one politician. This is about the failure of the entire Democrat race bait playbook. It's been exposed. Right? For decades, this strategy had been very simple. Accuse Republicans of racism, pander to the black voters and use celebrities to do it, promise the free stuff via government programs, and just hope nobody asks a serious question. But guess what? Oh, we're asking. We're asking questions now. And when we do, what they're going to find is that their entire political strategy will start to collapse. But I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Do you think that Jasmine Crockett's political career is finished? Like, is she done, or is she done? Or do you think the Democrats will try to resurrect her for another race? Maybe send her back to Congress. Maybe she'll go in the House, even though it's kind of backwards to go from a Senate race back to a House seat. I don't know. Listen, if you enjoyed this breakdown, I need you to do something. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth. So until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.